Welcome to Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. Today, the Roboskinner Riddle, Decoding Dimensions in Memefield.
Good morning, Memefield. Welcome to another delightful episode of Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. I'm your host, Seymour Skinner, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in crime, the ever-wise Superintendent Chalmers. And today we have a very special guest with us, Anna from Overwatch. Anna, why don't you start off by introducing yourself to our lovely audience?
Hey there, Memefield. I'm a member of the elite task force known as Overwatch. We tackle global crises with everything from scientific advancements to a well-placed sniper shot. And today, I'm here to chat about a certain someone who caused quite a crisis.
Roboskinner, the embodiment of all things chaotic in our otherwise orderly lives. It's always a pleasure to host such fascinating characters at our dinner table.
Now, Chalmers, let's not forget that without Roboskinner, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to strengthen our bonds over our culinary conquests, or disasters, as it often turned out. Speaking of which, I once attempted to make a lasagna that ended up more like, well, let's just say it was an edible disaster.
I can only imagine the chaos in your kitchen, Seymour. Overwatch has dealt with all sorts of anomalies, but a Skinner cooked lasagna sounds like a whole different level of emergency response.
Ah, yes, the infamous Skinner lasagna. A dish so dreadful it could have outed Roboskinner faster than any of our high-tech gadgets.
Now that you mention it, I'm starting to think my culinary challenges might have been a clever distraction by Roboskinner to mask his true intentions. I mean, who else would need that much cheese to serve a covert purpose?
That's a new twist on the classic hidden in plain sight. And speaking of hidden, how did you and Chalmers first come to work with Roboskinner, Seymour?
Well, it all started when we were faced with the forbidden book that threatened to unravel the very fabric of our reality. Roboskinner, along with Sonic, Shadow, Yugi, and my trusty sidekick, Cosmo, joined our ranks. It was quite an adventure, I must say.
Yes, it was a time of unity and shared purpose. Despite his, let's call them quirks, Roboskinner played a pivotal role in our success. It's hard to believe that the same individual would later become an adversary.
Human nature is complex. Superintendent. People, or in this case, robots, can change over time. It's not uncommon for heroes to become villains and vice versa. That's why Overwatch remains vigilant, ready to adapt to new threats.
And I must say, your team at Overwatch handles such complexity with grace and precision. It's partnerships like ours that make the world a safer place, even if my cooking skills leave something to be desired.
Indeed, Seymour. And while we're on the topic of safety, let's discuss how Overwatch managed to apprehend Roboskinner after his latest escapade. Anna, could you give us the rundown?
Of course. When Roboskinner escaped from the Twitch asylum, we mobilized all available resources. It was a combination of intelligence gathering, surveillance technology, and of course, good old-fashioned detective work. It's all in a day's work for Overwatch.
Impressive stuff. I must admit, I underestimated the capabilities of your team. I always thought my homemade robot repellent would be the key to thwarting Roboskinner's schemes.
Well, maybe there's a market for Skinner's Repel sauce. I'm sure it's just as effective, if not more so, than any of Overwatch's gadgets.
We'll keep that in mind, Seymour. For now, let's focus on ensuring that Memefield remains safe from any potential Roboskinner threats. And with that, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll dive deeper into the rumors surrounding Roboskinner's escape and what it means. Don't go anywhere.
What? A short break? The podcast just started?
That may be, but I only landed in Memefield on the plane half an hour ago, and an old lady needs her coffee. So let's take a quick break, have a drink, and then carry on.
Oh, an old but charming lady, I must add.
Yes, that's true, but Chalmers, you're not flirting here, are you?
Flirting would mean that I would emphasize a condition even though it is not particularly given, an embellishment, so to speak. But here I am only presenting the reality. It is just a statement that Anna is a very sincere, good-looking, and self-confident lady.
I have no doubt about that, but should I keep an eye on you instead of going into the kitchen and making the coffee?
Oh, I didn't realize I'd been invited to such a shamer. Chalmers, you'll overshadow all the news about Roboskinner if you carry on like this. And Skinner, don't worry. Of course I wouldn't take your Chalmers away from you.
Well, I'm reassured.
I'm just teasing you a bit, Seymour. Anna and I have been good friends for ages. I once gave a seminar on medical equipment at university, and Angela Ziegler, who was a field doctor at the time, was there too. We had spoken about it about this and that, and well, I got to know Anna through her.
Those were different times, Gary. But it's nice to see and hear that you're both doing so well here and living a happy life. That fills my heart with joy.
Thank you, Anna. We really do have a good life, and I am, of course, delighted that you are coming to visit us again.
The pleasure is all mine. But, well, now, a cup of coffee before we get to the exciting part.
Very well, the lady. And don't worry, Seymour, I'll make the coffee this time. We don't want to treat our Anna to your very unusual cooking. Otherwise, she'll forget why she's here with all the flavor.
Oh, well, then you're welcome to make the coffee. I also enjoy a little break from the kitchen escapades.
Chalmers, Skinner, and Anna go into the kitchen and have a delicious cup of coffee. They should drink it while it's still warm. What was that random quote? Well, never mind. Anyway, after the break, they sit back down in the renovated podcast studio.
Welcome back to our continuing saga, Memefield. I'm Seymour Skinner, and alongside my co-hosts, Superintendent Chalmers and our special guest, Anna from Overwatch, we're diving into the mysteries of Roboskinner's escape. Chalmers, why don't you start us off with the security measures at the Twitch Asylum?
Certainly, Seymour. The Twitch Asylum is equipped with state-of-the-art security systems designed to thwart even the most sophisticated of escape attempts. We had biometric lock surveillance cameras and a team of highly trained personnel on duty around the clock. Roboskinner, however, found a way to circumvent these measures with a level of sophistication that was truly disconcerting.
That's right, Superintendent Chalmers. From an Overwatch perspective, we analyzed the data and discovered that Roboskinner had been systematically identifying and exploiting vulnerabilities in our systems for quite some time before his escape. It was a masterful display of manipulation and technical prowess.
I must admit, it's both impressive and terrifying to consider the lengths he went to. I remember one time during our adventures against the Forbidden Book, Roboskinner was always 2 steps ahead, as if he could predict our every move.
Yes, his ability to anticipate our actions certainly gave us a run for our money. And speaking of predictions, Anya, what's your professional opinion on how Roboskinner managed to pull off this escape?
Well, based on our investigation, it appears that Roboskinner had been collecting various security protocols and blueprints during his time at the asylum. He used this information to create a detailed plan of action. He even managed to fabricate a prototype keycard that bypassed our biometric checkpoints. It was a well-orchestrated escape, without a doubt.
It's incredible. And here I thought my robotics oven was advanced. Roboskinner's ingenuity knows no bounds. Chalmers, do you recall any specific incident that could shed light on his methods?
There was one occasion when he seemed particularly interested in our security drills. He would always watch them with a strange intensity, asking me countless questions about the procedures and protocols. In hindsight, it's clear that he was gathering intel to use against us later on.
That's a pattern we observed as well. Roboskinner was meticulous in his approach, leaving no stone unturned. He knew our routines, our weaknesses, and even some of our secrets. It's a chilling thought that someone with such capabilities could be on the loose again.
Indeed, it's a stark reminder of the challenges we face. But let's not forget that we have Overwatch on our side now. With their expertise and resources, I'm confident that we'll ensure Roboskinner doesn't slip through the cracks again.
Absolutely, Seymour. And while we're on the subject of cooperation, let's not overlook the role that our neighbors, such as Sonic, Shadow, Yugi, and even Echo from Overwatch, played in our past endeavors. They were an integral part of our team, and their unique abilities complemented Roboskinner's skill set.
Yes, it was a diverse group with varying talents and perspectives. Each member brought something valuable to the table which made our team stronger and more effective against common threats. including the forbidden book. It's the power of diversity and cooperation that ultimately led us to victory back then. And speaking of diversity, it seems we have another diverse group here on the podcast. Between Chalmers and Anna's expertise and my culinary, let's call it experience, we make quite the team.
You're not wrong there, Seymour. And I must say, it's a pleasure to see how different individuals from various backgrounds can come together for a common cause. It's what makes our community in Memefield so special.
Absolutely, Gary. Teamwork and collaboration are key to any successful operation or project. And in the case of Roboskinner, it's crucial that we continue to work together to ensure safety for everyone involved.
Well said. Anna, it's a reminder that no matter how advanced technology becomes, the human element of trust, cooperation, and camaraderie cannot be underestimated. Now, let's take another short break to refresh our minds and prepare for our next segment on the rumors surrounding Roboskinner's potential ability to open portals to other dimensions.
Sounds like a plan, Seymour. And in the meantime, I'm off to make another attempt at perfecting my coffee, making skills. Perhaps this time I won't end up cooking the coffee pot.
We'll hold you to that, Gary. A good cup of coffee can certainly boost our spirits as we tackle these complex topics together.
Chalmers, Skinner, and Anna go back to the kitchen and drink another cup of delicious coffee. It is important to note that excessive consumption of caffeine can lead to problems. For example, drinking more coffee before going to bed can make it difficult to fall asleep.
Welcome back again. Now, Chalmers, I remember a time when I, and even Roboskinner himself attempted to use one of his so-called portals. Could you share that humorous fiasco with our listeners?
Certainly, Seymour. It was one of those days where Roboskinner claimed he had finally perfected a portal device. He insisted it could transport us to another location, or dimension, as he liked to say. So, in the spirit of, let's call it, scientific exploration, we decided to give it a try.
That sounds intriguing and slightly alarming at the same time. Overwatch has investigated various forms of teleportation technology, but nothing quite like opening portals to different dimensions. Please go on, Superintendent Chalmers.
Well, we set up the device in the living room, which, looking back, was perhaps not the best idea. Roboskinner flipped a series of switches and pressed buttons with a flourish, only for us to be abruptly enveloped in a bright light. When the light faded, we found ourselves exactly where we started, except for a strange new smell that seemed to follow us around.
Yes, that's correct. We were all quite puzzled. Roboskinner insisted that it was a partial success. Whatever that means, he even declared that the portal had a temporary range limitation.
A temporary range limitation. That sounds like a feature on one of my gadgets. In Overwatch, we've experimented with teleportation tech, but it's all based on established scientific principles like quantum entanglement and manipulation of space-time.
Indeed, Anna. Roboskinner's portal was far more, let's say, theatrical than anything we're familiar with at Overwatch. It reminds me of one of my culinary disasters. At least the portal had no explosive consequences.
Speaking of which, Seymour, do you recall the time you tried to make a chocolate souffle and ended up with what you affectionately called Skinner's collapsible cuisine?
Well, that was a different kind of dimensional rift, one involving cocoa and a great deal of frustration. But let's not dwell on my less successful moments in the kitchen. Back to the portals. Anya, your team at Overwatch must have some thoughts on this phenomenon.
Certainly. Seymour. While we haven't encountered any literal portals like Roboskinner's, there are scientific concepts that could explain warped dimensions or alternate realities. For instance, theoretical physics includes discussions on parallel universes and wormholes, though these are still theories at this point.
Fascinating. It's both terrifying and exhilarating to think about the possibilities of other dimensions. I must admit, my imagination is running wild with the potential stories and adventures that could unfold.
You know, Seymour, this brings to mind a philosophical question. If Roboskinner did have the ability to traverse dimensions, what responsibilities would come with such power? It's not just a matter of cool technology, but also one of ethical implication.
Absolutely, Gary. At Overwatch, we take great care to ensure that our achievements serve the greater good and are used responsibly. The potential for misuse is always a concern when it comes to advanced technologies.
Well said, Anna. And it's a reminder that with any new technology or discovery, we must tread carefully and consider the broader impact on society as a whole.
Indeed. It's a principle that applies not just to advanced tech like portals, but also to our everyday decisions and actions, especially when it comes to cooperation and communication within our community here in Memefield.
That's true, Gary. And speaking of community and cooperation, let's consider the role that other characters from Overwatch, like Echo, might play in such a scenario. Echo's ability to mimic others could be quite useful in exploring dimensions where the laws of physics may differ from our own.
That's a fantastic point, Anna. It's clear that with the combined efforts of Overwatch and our local team here in Memefield, we can face any challenges, even those involving interdimensional travel. Let's delve into a topic that touches the very heart of our human experience. The power of redemption. Chalmers, you've always held on to the hope that Roboskinner could find his way back to the light. No.
Yes, Seymour. Despite everything, I believe there's a spark of good within him. Our shared history with Roboskinner goes beyond mere colleagues. He was once a part of our team, and we've faced countless challenges together. It's not easy to shake off one's past, but I hold on to the hope that he can change for the better.
The eternal optimism of Superintendent Chalmers. It's as reliable as my burning passion for culinary experiments. What if Roboskinner's latest escapade wasn't a calculated move, but an elaborate ploy to test our resolve?
While your scenario, Seymour, makes for an interesting thought experiment in Overwatch. We deal with reality. Redemption arcs are common in fiction because they reflect the complex nature of human being there. We all have the capacity for change and growth, provided there's a willingness to confront one's mistakes and make amends.
A compelling point. The possibility of redemption is a powerful motivator for change, not just in stories, but in our real lives as well. It's a message that resonates deeply within us all.
Indeed. And it's a reminder that no one is beyond the reach of redemption, except perhaps for my burnt souffle, which I'm afraid will never see the light of day again.
At this moment, there's a sudden knock at the door. Skinner, Chalmers, and Anna look towards the entrance with surprise.
Who could that be at this hour?
I wasn't expecting anyone. Maybe it's a delivery?
I am really alert, or possibly someone with urgent news, given the events we've been discussing. Overwatch agents often receive unexpected visits for various missions or briefings.
The door opens, and Echo bursts inside. The expression on her face is one of urgency.
Principal Skinner, Superintendent Chalmers, Anna from Overwatch. I have breaking news. A sighting has just been reported near the outskirts of town. It appears that Roboskinner has escaped from the clutches of Overwatch once again.
Echo, my thanks for the update. This is indeed troubling news. Chalmers, it seems our discussion on redemption has taken an unexpected turn.
Yes, this is serious. We must act swiftly to ensure everyone's safety and apprehend Roboskinner before he causes any more harm.
Rest assured, we have protocols in place for situations like this. Overwatch will coordinate with local authorities and our team here in Memefield to neutralize any threats. Skinner, Chalmers, your expertise will be invaluable in assisting us.
We are at your service, Anna. Let's work together to ensure that this situation is resolved with as little disruption as possible. And let's not forget, no matter what lies ahead, we have each other. And that's a powerful resource in itself.
Indeed, Seymour. We face this challenge united, just as we always have. Together, there's nothing we can't overcome.
All right, team. Let's focus on the task at hand. Echo, can you provide us with more details about the sighting?
Yes, Principal Skinner. The sighting was reported by a local security firm near the outskirts of town. They described Roboskinner as resembling his usual self, complete with his signature armor. However, they noted that he seemed to be experimenting with some kind of new technology or weaponry.
That's concerning. If Roboskinner is indeed acquiring new technologies, we need to proceed with caution. Overwatch agents will be dispatched immediately to investigate the sighting and secure any potential threats.
And in the meantime, Skinner and I can help by gathering information from our community here in Memefield. We know Roboskinner's habits better than anyone else.
I will relay this information back to Overwatch headquarters. Coordination is key in apprehending Roboskinner and ensuring public safety.
Thank you, Echo. Your quick action has already set the wheels of operation into motion. We'll keep everyone updated as the situation develops.
While we're on this, I can't help but think back to our earlier discussion about redemption. It's a reminder that no one wants to see Roboskinner cause harm, especially not to those who know him best.
Indeed, Seymour. And if there's even the slightest chance of redemption for Roboskinner, we should explore every possible avenue to help him walk that path. It's what we owe as members of this community.
Your point is well taken, Chalmers. Overwatch believes in second chances and the potential for change within each individual. We'll do everything in our power to handle this situation, with both caution and compassion.
Well said, Anna. And let's not forget that we have a whole community behind us, rooting for Roboskinner's return to the light, or at least for a peaceful resolution to this saga.
I will continue to provide updates as they come in. Rest assured that Overwatch is on it. Principal Skinner, Superintendent Chalmers, your insights are invaluable. We'll get through this together.
As Echo departs to coordinate with Overwatch headquarters, Skinner, Chalmers, and Anna are left with a mix of concern and resolve. They know that the road ahead may be fraught with challenges, but they also understand that their shared history with Roboskinner and their commitment to their community give them hope for a positive outcome.
Well, there you have it, folks. A tale that blends the fantasy of interdimensional travel with the very real hope for redemption and change. Let's all keep our fingers crossed that this situation resolves peacefully and productively.
Indeed, Seymour. And remember, no matter what happens, we're in this together as a community. We'll face whatever comes our way with courage and compassion.
That's right. And let's keep in mind that every story has its twists and turns. This one is far from over.
As we draw this episode to a close, Gary and I would like to take a moment to look back on our journey thus far. From our initial victory over Roboskinner to his subsequent escapes, and the rumors of his misdeeds. It's been quite a ride for all of us here in Memefield.
Indeed, Seymour. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, from concern to hope and back again. But through it all, we've had the unwavering support of our wonderful listeners. Your engagement with our story has been instrumental in keeping us motivated.
And on behalf of Overwatch, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for your continued support. Your interest in our mission and the challenges we face elevates our resolve to maintain peace and security within our community.
Yes, your participation in this ongoing narrative is what makes our collective efforts meaningful. Together, we've been able to respond to each new development with a sense of purpose and unity.
Your words are both humbling and inspiring, Echo. It's clear that the strength of our community lies in its ability to come together during challenging times. And while Roboskinner's actions have certainly tested us, it's also brought out the best in us.
That's right, Seymour. And as we look forward, we can only hope that Roboskinner will see the value in returning to the light, for his sake and for the safety of our community.
At Overwatch, we remain vigilant and committed to ensuring that our world remains a safe place for everyone. We're always prepared for whatever challenges may come our way, and we're ready to face them head on.
Absolutely, Anna. And with the combined efforts of all our team members here in Memefield, I believe that we can overcome any obstacle. Our unity is our greatest strength.
As we bid farewell for today's episode, let's not forget that this story is far from over. Roboskinner's saga continues to unfold, and with it, the opportunities for growth, understanding, and perhaps even redemption.
And while we may find ourselves at a crossroads, it's important to remember that every ending is also a new beginning. We're here to navigate these waters together.
That's right. And as we prepare for our next episode, we want to leave you with a teaser. There may be a cliffhanger involving Roboskinner that you won't want to miss. So stay tuned because the adventure continues.
Yes, and I'll be sure to relay any updates from Overwatch AK as soon as they come in. The next episode promises to be just as thrilling as this one.
Well, there you have it, folks. A heartfelt thank you to each of you for joining us on this journey. Your support is what keeps the stories we tell vibrant and alive. Until next time, take care and remember that in unity there's strength.
Good night, Memefield, and a special thanks to our listeners worldwide. Your engagement is what makes this podcast not just a narrative, but a shared experience. We'll see you next time on Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast.
As the podcast music comes to a gentle stop, Skinner, Chalmers, Anna, and Echo take a moment to reflect on the events that have unfolded. They express their gratitude for the support of their listeners and tease the excitement that awaits in the next episode. With Roboskinner's story still hanging in the balance, the community of Memefield eagerly anticipates the resolution of this saga.
Good night, everyone. And until our next adventure begins, keep your radios tuned in and keep your spirits high. Remember, in Memefield, every challenge we face together is an opportunity for growth and understanding.
Sleep well, know that we're here for you, and that we'll continue to bring you the latest updates as they unfold. Until our next gathering, stay safe and keep hope alive.
And from all of us at Overwatch, we'll be keeping a watchful eye on the horizon. We can't wait to share our next adventure with you. Good night.
Rest assured that Overwatch will remain vigilant and ready for any new developments. Until next time, take care and keep your eyes on the stars.